A very warm welcome in the class of Introduction to Improper Integral. This topic comes under the module of Integral Calculus in the paper Mathematics 1. Myself Rupak Bhattacharjee, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, GIS College of Engineering. So, before entering into the topic, there are some prerequisites for this particular class. They are the concept of definite integration. We need actually the concept of integration, and in added to that we need to have the idea of definite integration, because we need to put some limits in the upper part and the lower part of the integration for these types of integration what we are going to deal with next. So obviously we need the concept of limit. Limit means the limiting idea through which we can also approach the integration problems. So when the limiting problems can be solved, how the limiting problems are done, that means the basic calculus part, this has to be very much clear for this particular class. And finally, the properties of definite integration and the limit is also required, because in some cases we need to use some standard limits of some standard function for some limiting value, as well as we have to use the properties of definite integration for this particular lecture. So before entering into this discussion, I am requesting you all to go through or to revisit these parts of your basic 11-12 classes, so that this class will be smooth for you. Now we are considering one integration A to B fx dx. Okay, now this integration will be called improper if either A or B or both of them are infinite. Or fx, the function under integration, is unbounded in A less than x less than b. So this integration is called improper integration if any one of these two will happen. Now there is an important observation, that it can be proved that the function fx is unbounded in the closed interval a to b, then there exists at least one point, C which is in the closed interval a to b, such that the neighborhood of C fx is not bounded. So not only a single point or more points or the whole range, we can get at least one point in this closed interval C, such that the function becomes unbounded over here. Then basically this point C is called the point of infinite discontinuity of fx, or the singularity of the integral first one, this one, the singularity of the integral 1. So this is the conceptual or theoretical part of this improper integration. Now we will dive into the types of the integration. Now if we think for the types of the integration, in the very basic part we can break it into two parts. First one is when the limiting values are infinite. That means when you are trying to find out the integration, it can have first type as a to infinity fx dx, then second type suppose minus infinity to b fx dx, and obviously you can imagine the third part, that is minus infinity to infinity fx dx. Here now, according to the another type of this improper integration, we can think of the problems where the given function is unbounded. So this is the first type expressions, and the second type expressions are related to unbounded. So when the function fx is unbounded in the interval, is unbounded. Okay, now how to classify them? We can also classify this part into three segments. These segments can be expressed as integration a to b fx dx, that means the first one where the point a is the point of infinite discontinuity. So obviously there is a chance of having a to b fx dx where the point b is the point of infinite discontinuity, and finally we can have the third type, that is a to b fx dx, where both the points a and b both are point of infinite discontinuity. Clear? So we can segregate the improper integrals defining by this way, as well as we can make these types of improper integral. Okay, so proceeding further, when we are going to give you some examples of improper integrals, then it will be more visually clear to us. First one, suppose integration 0 to infinity dx by x square. So it is very much clear that at the point 0, this 1 by x square is making some problem for us. Similarly, if we think about another problem, suppose minus infinity to infinity dx by 1 plus x square, it is also under the category of improper integration because both the limits are having infinity and minus infinity. In the first problem also we are having infinity as the upper limit. If we think for the another example, suppose it is 0 to 1, so up to this 0 to 1 it is not looks like harmful, but when I am going to write it as dx by x, this implies that fx is equal to 1 by x is having the point of infinite discontinuity in the closed interval 0 to 1, that is at the point 0. Similarly, if we proceed for some other example, suppose 0 to 2 dx by root over suppose 2 minus x or x minus 2. If you are taking this, then also this function fx is equal to 1 by root over 2 minus x, it is also going to undefined situation as this 0 to 2 range. At this particular point 2 we are having problem, and in the first case at this particular point 0 we are having problem. So in the first problem it is the lower limit, in the second problem it is the upper limit. And suppose we are having another problem like minus 2 plus 2 dx by x minus 1 plus x into 1 plus x. Are you getting the flavor that where is the problem? Look at this, here the function is 1 by x into 1 plus x, and your range is minus 2 to 2, and this is undefined where at x equal to 0 and at x equal to minus 1. Unfortunately, both the points are inclusive in this particular interval minus 2 to 2. So for these 2 points are there in the function is becoming undefined. So these 2 points are points of infinite discontinuity in this whole interval. So all these are examples of improper integrations. Now we are going for the one by one classifications and the problems, because not only the identification of improper integration is sufficient, we have to know that how to solve them. So first one, if we take as when the limits are infinite, okay. So suppose I am taking 0 to infinity fx dx. So obviously you have a problem in this upper limit infinity, and in the remaining part suppose the function is not having any point of infinite discontinuity, we are having only trouble in the upper limit. So then what we can do, can we write this problem as limit capital X tends to infinity integration 0 to capital X fx dx. Look at this, the justification will be declared after some time, but look at this, if you can write it, it is just as the symmetry of this particular expression, that instead of infinity we are writing x, and x we are pushing it to infinity. What is the benefit of that? When it is infinity we can't integrate, because we can't use upper limit lower limit as infinity or minus infinity, and then we can substitute it. Instead of that, if we take capital X, then what is capital X? We are treating that this function fx is bounded. In this particular example, actually what we are treating, that fx is bounded as well as and integrable, where in 0 less than equal to x less than equal to capital X for all capital X greater than 0. Okay, so capital X is characterized by this structure and fx is bounded and integrable in this range. So 0 to capital X fx dx is integrable, we get some finite value containing capital X in the expression. After that, when we need to find out the value of this one, or when we have to check whether it is possible for us to get the value of this improper integration or not, then we are adding this part to make this definite integration into improper integration, and then we will check whether this result is finite or not means this improper integral is giving you some finite value or not. Clear? So actually 0 to infinity fx dx is equal to limit x tends to infinity 0 to capital X fx dx. This is the important conversion of this improper integral for the first time. Okay. Now, if we are entering into one example, then what is the scenario for this particular application? Our target is to find out, suppose 0 to infinity dx by 1 plus x square. Check it. At 0, 1 by 1 plus x square is defined and bounded. And for all values of capital X, if we take capital X is greater than small x and it is greater than 0, then for every possible values of capital X, it is also okay. So we can compare this problem along with this structure, and we can write this one as just comparing it with this structure, that limit capital X tends to infinity integration 0 to capital X dx by 1 plus x square. If some of you are having any problem in writing capital X and small x, which seems to be very close, you can take capital A instead of capital X, and you can make that capital A tends to infinity to remove the confusions from your writing. Okay. So in the next line, what we can write? Limit capital X tends to infinity. We know dx by 1 plus x square is nothing but tan inverse x. So we can write it as tan inverse x, and the limits are 0 to capital X. So in the next line, we can write that limit capital X tends to infinity tan inverse capital X minus tan inverse 0. Now check tan inverse capital X when x tends to infinity. What is the value? Tan inverse capital X when x tends to infinity, what is the value? It is known to us that if we think for tan pi by 2, we know that it tends to this. So this can be written as pi by 2 minus tan inverse 0 is 0. So ultimately the result is coming as pi by 2. Why? Because of the existence of this limit, that is limit x tends to infinity tan inverse x. This limit exists. That is why this problem also giving you some finite value, and for that you can claim that this improper integration exists, and improper integration is going to give you the value of finite type. This limit if does not exist, then we can't reach to any finite conclusion of the result of this integration, and in that case this improper integration does not exist. That means the conclusion can't be drawn for this particular improper integration in an finite manner. Clear? So moving into the next part, if we think for the next part where the function fx is bounded and integrable in capital X less than equal to small x less than equal to b. What does it mean? It means actually we are targeting the integration minus infinity to b. So obviously x has to be less than b and capital X is also less than small x. So this problem is now under our investigation, and we are approaching this problem in this manner, that limit capital X tends to minus infinity, integration capital X to B fx dx. If you have understood the last technique, this technique is nothing but you can think about the reflection or the image or the identical prototype of the previous problem. Why? Because there we are facing the problem at the upper limit. So when is the problem as the upper limit? We have taken capital X over here, and then we are approaching X to infinity. And when we are having the problem at lower limit, we are now taking capital X over here and we are approaching capital X to minus infinity. This is just the concept behind this particular approach. Now if this limiting value is existing, then the problem will be solvable. If the limiting value does not exist, then we can't find out the result of this integration. So our job is to check whether the limits of integration, upper limit is a problem or the lower limit is a problem. So for this type, if we want to give some example, then suppose we have a problem minus infinity to 0 e to the power x dx. So looking at the lower limit of this problem, we can compare these two and we get that they are comparable. So we can write it as limit x tends to minus infinity, integration minus infinity to 0 e to the power x dx. Now integrating it, we can write limit x tends to minus infinity, e to the power x is nothing but e to the power x, and no, this should be capital X, because capital X tends to infinity already is written, so it will be capital X to 0. Now we can write it as limit x tends to minus infinity, e to the power 0 means 1 minus e to the power capital X. Now if limit capital X tends to minus infinity, e to the power x exists, our problem will exist with a finite value. If not, then this will also not. So this totally depends on the limiting existence of this particular part. So what we see, that we can get this result as 1 minus limit x tends to infinity e to the power x. Now limit x tends to minus infinity e to the power x means e to the power minus infinity. E to the power minus infinity means 1 by e to the power infinity, means 1 by infinity means 0. So ultimately we get the result as 1. So it is existing according to the existence of this particular limit. And this problem falls into the category of the second type, that the limits are infinity, and in the subtype that the lower limit is infinity. Okay. Now proceeding further, we can go for the third type of the discussed types, where both the lower limit and the upper limit, both of them are infinity. So what we do, minus infinity to infinity fx dx, we can write it as taking a point C within minus infinity to infinity, we can write it as minus infinity to C fx dx plus C to infinity fx dx. Clear? So minus infinity to C and C to infinity. Now if I don't discuss anything over here, then also it is possible for you to understand and proceed for these types of problems, because this is the pattern of first type and this is the pattern of second type. So to be specific, if I want to give you the thing comparing with the first part, so we are taking x1 tends to minus infinity, x1 to C fx dx plus limit x2 tends to infinity integration c to x2 fx dx. Just as simple as that. So here the important thing is that both the limits has to be existing for the existence of this given improper integration. So as for example, if we are thinking for, suppose there is a problem like minus infinity to infinity x by x to the power 4 plus 1 dx. So it is very much judged that this problem falls into this category. So we have to take a number c and we can write this problem as minus infinity to c x by x to the power 4 plus 1 dx plus c to infinity x by x to the power 4 plus 1 dx. Okay, now this is a separate problem, this is a separate problem, but according to the structure we can approach this problem as limit x1 tends to minus infinity integration x1 to c x by x to the power 4 plus 1 dx plus limit x2 tends to plus infinity integration c to x2 x by x to the power 4 plus 1 dx. Okay, now we have to just use the technique of basic integration, and this will give you the integration type, this one and this one will be same. I'm writing it here that limit x1 tends to minus infinity integration x1 to c, we can write it as d of x square. D of x square means 2x dx, but we have x dx, so we can manage this 1 by 2 to make this balanced. After that it can be written as x square whole square plus 1. Similarly this part can be written as this structure. Then we can write the next line by half is as it was, then limit x1 tends to minus infinity. What will be this? As x tends to this one and x1 will also be going to the same structure, and we can write it as tan inverse x square with the limits x1 to c plus the same thing over here. I am not doing the second part of this one, but the second part can be done as the same process we are adopting for the first part. And finally we can write it as half limit x1 tends to minus infinity tan inverse c square minus tan inverse x1 square plus again the remaining part, and here half tan inverse c square minus tan inverse x1 tends to minus infinity, so x1 square will be going to plus infinity, and it is tan inverse plus infinity means pi by 2 plus. Now if you just think for this one, and finally if we write the answer, that it will be what, as I have not performed this calculation, this one and this one, it is not possible for you to check this particular thing, but when you are going to do this, you will get that this result will be coming as half pi by 2 minus tan inverse square. So finally the answers will be 0. So this dotted part is kept for you. Please complete this one. Now we are entering the second type of the improper integration, where we have the points are of infinite discontinuity of A and B type. Our problems are like that: A to B fx dx, and we are solving those problems by assuming that this is improper integration because of the type of A is a point of infinite discontinuity. So if I take the first type of this segment, we can write that integration A to B fx dx, where A is the point of infinite discontinuity, as limit epsilon tends to 0 plus integration A plus epsilon to B fx dx. If you want to visualize this part, it is something like that: A to B, where A is the point of infinite discontinuity. So when I am trying to integrate it from A to B, I will integrate it from this point to B, where this point is A plus epsilon. But what is epsilon? Epsilon obviously very small quantity. It will be tending to 0, and it will be tending to 0 in this direction. Okay, so that epsilon tends to 0 plus means it will go to A from this positive direction. Okay, as epsilon is approaching from positive direction, that means this one, then this A plus epsilon is approaching to A. If this limit exists, then the result of this improper integral exists. So in the similar manner, if we go for the second type, the second type is A to B fx dx, where B is the point of infinite discontinuity, then it will be limit epsilon tends to 0 minus integration A to B minus epsilon fx dx. And similarly, if you want to visualize this one, it is A, it is B, so this is B minus epsilon, but here also same thing, epsilon is tends to 0, very small quantity, but the tending is from this part, so that B minus epsilon is tending to be from this direction. This direction is also important, so that is why here we are taking epsilon is tending to 0 minus. So we are approaching now the third type or third subtype of this problem, where A to B fx dx is the problem, but A and B both are point of infinite discontinuity. Then how to tackle? We can't do this because B is infinite discontinuity. We can't do this because A of infinite discontinuity. So here our approach is to take first a point C within A and B. Okay, so what we can do, we can write this problem A to C fx dx with the help of the property of definite integration, and C to B fx dx. Now this problem is falling into the category of this part, and this problem is falling into the category of this part. So if I want to write it, then we will write it as limit epsilon 1 tends to 0. Now for A we are writing it, suppose it is 0 plus, so it will be A plus epsilon 1 to C fx dx plus limit epsilon 2 tends to 0. Epsilon 2 is going to be used for which one? It will be used for B minus epsilon 2. It will be 0 minus then fx dx, because here A as well as B both are points of infinite discontinuity. So it will be A plus epsilon 1, it will be B minus epsilon 2. This epsilon 1, this one is approaching to A in this direction, this one is approaching to B in this direction. If both the limits exist, then only we can say that the problem will be existing. So now if we are going to solve the problems of the improper integrations, then we have types, then we have subtypes 1, and here subtype 2, and for this we are having infinite as the limits, and we are having infinite discontinuities for some points. So today we are not extending the lecture further. We are going to show you one clue for this, that there are some observations where some notations are there. I am not making the notations open for you here because it will be used for the further discussions of some transformations. Just I want to emphasize that these are the applications of improper integrations, because you are seeing the limits as infinity, here also infinity, minus infinity are present. So these are nothing but the clues for which you can get the idea that yes, improper integration is going to be used for our further study. And finally, this is the reference through which we have prepared this lecture, and these are the assignments. You please solve those problems. So finally, I want to thank you all. Happy listening, happy learning.